In Civ 6 or Civilization 6, I've done a top 10 leaders, top 10 domination leaders, and now I'm here with the top 10 science leaders in Civ 6. Only the biggest, juiciest brains can be considered for the list, but there are a lot of science-focused leaders in the game, so I do have 4 honorable mentions followed by a top 10 list that might shock you so much it could be considered BDSM. Subscribe and hit the bell if you do enjoy, it helps out the channel a ton and you won't miss out on future content. First honorable mention goes to Brazil, and since we're talking about honor, let's add in Japan to avoid any seppukus my conscience can't handle. But I have both leaders in the slot because they have bonuses to districts and great people, but not necessarily for a science victory. These bonuses can be tailored for a science win, sure, but they aren't as good for science, nor is it optimal to go for science with these guys when your bonuses can be used for culture or even domination a little bit easier. They both can be great science wins though, so that's why I have them in the first honorable mention slot. Secondly, we got the most beautiful, succulent lips. Okay, Portugal gets the number 2 slot, but they're number 1 in an archipelago map due to their trade route bonuses, and due to their abandonment issues, Portugal does better the more civs there are in the game. They get more traders and thus more science and culture from each trader, not to mention that navigation schools give you 1 science as adjacency for every ocean or lake tile near the navigation school. Lots of great science bonuses, but they go from rock hard TheCivLifeR subscriber to limp dick non-sub when you switch from an archipelago to a Pangea map, for example, and continents not even being the best map mode for them either. That's precisely why I have them as only the second honorable mention slot. Third honorable mention, yeah, I know we have a lot of honorable mentions, but that's just how many civs have science or production and culture bonuses. Anyways, Russia gets science and culture from trade routes for every tech they're behind in, which can be expanded with a research alliance to jaw-dropping amounts. But the thing with Super Wario is the fact that you can get one of the easiest religions and easy culture generation, and depending on your religion, you can have more science, culture, and work ethic. Russia with Tundra Lavros is more destructive than crack is to a toddler. And we aren't even done yet. You add in secret societies and go for void singers with the tier 2 promotion, and all the faith you're making, we're discovering new levels of nut that shouldn't be possible. With 1 small step for man and 1 large step for porn kind, they aren't in the top 10 because they aren't really built for science, and other civs have more direct bonuses, but Russia in the right situation is easily number 1 in the entire game. The last honorable mention slot goes to Babylon. Science victories are easy. Get planes in the ancient era, tear down enemy cities with your alter ego Osama bin Rabi, and then just hit next turn until you win a science victory. But in all reality, even with the negative 50% science bonus, you should be able to get all the tech boosts you need and get research labs and universities in the medieval era. So even with that debuff, you'll still have the largest science win in the game until around the modern era, and being able to wipe out any civ dumb enough to be breathing within 50 nautical miles of you gives you enough cities to keep the lead. It's hard to pull off a science victory with Babylon, which is why they're only an honorable mention, but they still do deserve the honorable mention with all that potential. 10th place, and the first one that'll get me put on a stake, is the Mayans. Now, the Mayans do have huge bonuses to science with their observatories, getting science from farms and plantations, but none to mountains, which is fine. You can easily build farms around observatories, and they can easily play tall with their 15% bonus to cities within 6 tiles of the capital. The problem with the Mayans is they produce nothing. Starting near grasslands is great for food growth and plantations, but there's no production bonus they have, and when it takes 20 turns to build a space park and 40 to build a spaceport, you're giving up your advantages to civs like Germany or the Netherlands, not to mention just getting a university is going to be a chore in and of itself, since it'll take most cities 15 turns at least, so you won't even get universities before anyone else. The Mayans are strong with science, but production-wise, I can take a nap right now and be just as productive as the Mayan Empire over 10 turns. Nubia comes in at number 10 because of their gorgeous Nubian pyramids. While they might not be Giza, some might say they're even better. Getting a pyramid near your capital is huge for production to districts, reaching 40%, letting you build spaceports in more cities and therefore more thrusters and booster parts to get the game ended even quicker. With your early domination bonus, being able to take 3 to 5 cities early is possible with a huge boost to your empire. They don't have science bonuses, which is why they're only at number 9, but just by having insane production and tier 4 promotion archers before anyone else, you can easily build campuses and buildings, and with your amount of cities, the science won't suffer too greatly. Not only that, but the Nubian pyramid does get +1 yield according to adjacent districts, and their bonuses, which is a drop, sure, but with enough pyramids, they can make up the difference in science. You see this absolute Giga Chad, one stomp and we need to send aid to Japan and Haiti again. Look at him taking supersonic punches to the stomach, a true TheCivLifeR subscriber, allowing his enemies to get their hits in to assert dominance and let them know resistance is futile. Is there any world where this guy's packing less than 15 inches? Here's live footage of Senator Armstrong hitting that subscribe button and the power up that ensued. By leaving a like and subscribing, you too will grow 7 feet, gain 15 inches where it matters, and 2, more importantly, not miss out on future content. This is really the spot where the big daddy science civs come to play. This is where the panty wedding begins, undoubtedly with the Netherlands. Rivers may as well be the win now button for Nanny McPhee, considering they give adjacency to industrial zones, theater squares, and campuses, being the 3 main districts you need, and the fact that commercial hubs already have river adjacencies means you find 1 or 2 river systems and the game's already over. The polder is great if you can get enough of them, and the culture from trade routes is also huge, letting you get the late game governments and policies to close out the game. And if you start having withdrawal symptoms from not committing atrocities on a large scale, your unique frigate, De 7 Provincienne, lets you sail De 7 seas and wipe out civs on the map with 7 combat strength to defensible districts, giving you the knockout blow to your science victories need. Number 7 goes to Arabia. Not only are they guaranteed a religion in every game and a massive, thick, bushy beard, not to mention getting 1 science for every foreign city following the religion, but they also get a 10% boost to science and culture when you build a warship building. The Madrasa gives the campus adjacency to your faith output, so go Void Singers before rubbing your eyes to ensure that, yes, you did quintuple your science output with just 1 button press. Arabia is a strong mix of faith and science, and depending on the beliefs you pick, you can also get bonuses to production with work ethic, science, and culture from World Church, or food even, giving them almost everything they need or want for a science victory. The fact their warship buildings cost less faith than a Costco hot dog, you'll also be able to get the 10% boost to every city, giving you a mini Kilwa bonus you can guarantee every game for science and culture. The future S tier on the drip tier list, John Curtin takes the number 6 spot with his ability to get adjacency for charming and breathtaking tiles, giving them a massive advantage for science victories, since breathtaking tiles are predominantly found near mountains, which already gives science adjacency. Placing a campus between 3 mountain tiles with breathtaking appeal is going to be commonplace and allow you to reach nut levels that no one thought possible. The adjacency also works towards production and industrial zones, and if you can time the double production you get for 10 turns after being attacked by an enemy, you can blitz through the space race, as the only thing you'll struggle with is bonuses to culture, and making sure you have enough dams needed to contain all that drip from flooding your empire. The number 5 spot goes to Menelik with his can't believe it's not Arab attire and top hat. He gets 15% of his faith converted to science and culture without losing the faith, of course, and a start bias near hills and mountains for production and campuses, not to mention he's got so much faith coming out of his ass, the Pope seems like a sinner in comparison. Trade routes and rock-hewn churches, dear Neptune, the rock-hewn churches, will give you all the faith you need, and your bonuses stack with Void Singers, giving you a huge bonus to science and culture, and that right there is enough. That right there is good enough to get you locked up for cheating, alright? You might as well be cosplaying Dream at this point, because the second you pick Ethiopia with Void Singers, it is literally mathematically impossible to lose. At the very least, it would be more impressive to lose than it would be to win. Let's go home at this point. Ethiopia has everything you need for science victory, and thus gets the number 5 spot on this list, starting off our top 5 science leaders in Civilization VI. England's father and their Scottish Enlightenment is all Scotland needs for the number 4 spot. Cities with positive +3 amenities get 5% boosts to science, production, and great people points, 1 for great engineers and 1 for great scientists. And when you get +5 amenities, these numbers are all doubled. And with the Scottish Golf Course and their bagpipes with their +2 amenities per city, and not to mention a quick Coliseum, Estadio de Maracona, while limiting growth, you have insane bonuses to science and production in every city, and great people points, giving you the advantage you need to dominate science victories, getting all the late game great engineer and great scientists that give not only science per turn, but also production to and immediate production for space race parts. And if you get the mausoleum at Halicarnassus, you're going to be able to build most space parts in just 1 or 2 turns. The only thing you'll struggle with is culture, but with all the great people you'll be getting, culture is not necessary to dominate as the Scots. Last video video's question of the day of what do other people do in Civ 6 that you hate is one by Joe Piazzi, who's got a point. I mean, freshwater is better than coasts, and if you aren't moving that settler when you start near 5 desert tiles and a 1-1 right beside an active volcano, then you might have a little problem. Today's question is going to be, what is a non-mainstream strategy you've found for science victories that not many people know about? Korea gets the number 3 slot, being one of the best science, pure science generation civs in the entire game. Now, again, this might send a hate mob after me, since a lot of people really do think Korea might be the best science civ in the entire game, and you might be right, honestly. The best thing about her is rationalism requiring +4 adjacency campuses, which, you know, that's pretty hard to get. The reward is getting +50% boost to science in every city that has that. Getting +4 science campuses in every cities without natural philosophy is almost impossible, but that 50% boost is too good to pass up. Well, for Korea, you don't have to. Every CU1 has 0 adjacency bonuses and actually gets a -1 adjacency modifier for each adjacent district, but they automatically start with a +4 adjacency campus. That reduces with every adjacent district, but it also gets more food and science for every adjacency, depending on farms and mines respectively. So as long as you don't mess up, you essentially get a 50% extra empire-wide science bonus in the mid-game, which is absolutely disgusting. Make this game rated R for adults. Children should not be witness to this. The governor bonus is nice, but a little overrated in my opinion, since at the highest rank you'll get a 15% boost to science and culture, but that's only for 2 cities, since that's pretty much how many government titles you're going to be getting every game. Maybe you'll be able to get a 3rd governor title depending on the culture you have, but for most cities you're only going to be getting 2 maximum for each city. It's nice, I guess, but it's nothing too great. Now, before anyone tells me not to sleep on the governor bonus, let me just... Overall, with no production bonuses though, and really being at the whims of Sid Meier's city placement of your capital himself on the map, Korea's only going to get the number 3 slot solely carried by her science and somewhat culture bonuses. Second place, we have Deutschland. Why the fuck do we call him Germany? Just saying Deutschland is so much cooler, though it does make me feel like starting a fight with all my neighbors at once when I say it, so that's probably why. Anyways, the production you get as Germany is just disgusting. There's no way around it. With the Craftsman policy card, you can have multiple cities with +20 production just from adjacency bonuses from industrial zones alone, and at that point you'll be able to build anything in a reasonable time, with 10-turn spaceports and 5-turn space race projects being the most obvious. But not only that, but also the extra district lets you build commercial hubs, campuses, and Hanzas at 4 population, which means you'll have all your districts finished by turn 150, and by then it's just next turn simulator. Not only that, but being able to build every building in the campus in less than 7 turns means you'll be making science much faster than anyone else, even if it is just by 5 to 6 turns at the minimum. That's still 5 to 6 turns of like an extra 100 science, 600 science, ending up being a free technology, which is a huge bonus, bigger than you might think when it comes to winning a game, especially if you had a bad start or you're new to playing on higher difficulties. Since most games at the end are really due to a lack of production more than a lack of science, Germany's easily the best late game science civ, and that's without including early on being able to build things like spies, districts, and units like builders or even military units faster than everyone else, giving you a faster advantage towards development of your cities than everyone else, sealing the deal for Germany taking the number 2 spot, and on another day I would probably consider putting them at number 1. But the number 1 civ, in my opinion, is by far the best science civ in the game, and that is... At the ultimate spot, we get the Big Bull Moose Teddy. My goodness, the sheer aura of yields he gives off me just might blind me. Avert your eyes, everybody. Breathtaking tiles near mountains and natural wonders get +2 science. Now, this becomes +2 culture when you're near woods or a world wonder. In the early game, spawning near mountains or woods, which is a lot more common than you think, gives you an insane early game science and culture bonus, even giving you the lead by a huge amount on deity. This right here is absolutely revolting. It makes me want to puke, because unlike any other civ, you don't need to do anything. You're literally born with this bonus. You might as well be born like son of Bill Gates or something like that. You are absolutely set. You just have to not make an improvement that reduces appeal, like mines, for example, in the wrong location. And by getting natural parks, you increase the city's appeal of every tile by +1. By the late game, every tile you have, especially with the Eiffel Tower, will give you culture and science at absolutely ludicrous levels. No production bonuses, sure, but the fact you get the bonuses that early on, and 3 population being enough to surpass 1 Seowon from Korea, for example, not to mention all the extra culture you're going to be getting. You don't need production bonuses at that point, and that's not including wildcard slots you get, which is better for science victories than the Diplo slot that the wildcard replaces for Teddy Roosevelt. All in all, despite them not having any sort of production bonuses, the amount of science and culture they have will ensure that you're one era ahead of everybody else, and as long as you don't do anything stupid like settling near a flat desert tile without Petras, or settling in 0 production locations with your most important cities, you'll still have more than enough production to be able to build spaceship parts before anyone can even research spaceship parts. That's how disgusting these guys are. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed to not miss out on future content, and click this video in the upper right corner for more. See you there. Peace.